John was really good.
Could you compare? I know your comic book isn't like a superhero, like it isn't like.
Well, he is.
Well, it isn't like the It's not like Lobo, but
right.
Is it? What would you compare it in the superhero realm?
Well, actually, my comic is kind of a lampoon.
Could you?
It's kind of like Airplane.
If you gave us like Elvis, like an audio trailer, like compare it to things. Like
okay, there's references in it, so I can just tell you what what it is. So it's Elvis, and he is thought to be dead, like the Hulk, so that he can
much
fight.
like reality. Does it modern day or is it back in Elvis's day?
It's modern day.
Okay, so
it kind of f's with time. It doesn't.
Alright, so it's ambiguous.
Time. Yeah,
okay.
And so we got Elvis, and he's not really dead, and then he's visited by his spirit guide, kind of like Cagliostro from Spawn. But his spirit guide is Uncle Sam, because Elvis was in the army. And that was a famous thing he did. Joined the army, fought for his country.
Does it have that famous? Does it have that?
Yeah, the point. The point. In there. Yeah, you see it on the cover.
Okay.
So he's visited by his spirit, like Spawn, and his suit. Eventually, his powers they'll manifest as you go, and I mention it in the comic. And is
it like Silver Surfer, where you're just coming up with powers?
No,
do you have a set idea?
I have the powers. Okay. I do have a set idea. It will be cool. But I put it in the first issue, and I had a fan, someone who read it, point out that he liked that like usually when they throw powers at people, they don't ever say your powers will come. They just have an idea.
Yeah.
Like, where did he get that stupid power? But
yeah.
Elvis will have cool stuff like fat that moves on its own and picks locks and stuff. And
is that from personal experience?
Yes. Yes. Well, if you're fat and you sit up against something, you take on the shape.
Big people can open doors. Is just what I know.
Big people just go right through them. But Elvis is cool, man. He'll have powers come out. He has Spidey sense, but it's called crime fighting Hoosafudge. And he has.
Does it tingle?
It does.
Okay.
What's that, Elvis? It makes him shake, rattle, and roll.
So it sounds like you've put a lot of thought into it, and so how long have you been spitballing? I have a reader email question that says how does your Elvis comic now compare to the Elvis comic from CCRI days in 2005-ish? So
Bernie.
Obviously, yeah. Obviously.
Bernie's question.
Obviously, you've been working on this a long time.
I have been. Was it 2005?
It says 2005-ish.
I have been working on it since 2005. Well, I was in.
I'll just cross the ish off, and now it's official.
Yeah. No, it was ish.
Okay.
Smoked a lot of pot back then. When I started it, I was in this history class. It was boring as history class, and I would doodle, and I doodled this little guy that kind of looked like Elvis. I'm like, this looks like Elvis. This is stupid. And then I started well, what if this? What if he had a Batman signal and he was looking up at it off a building for some reason, and I made this Elvis silhouette, he was looking up at it, and I was like, this is really funny. What if he had to fight crimes? And then, eventually, I made a comic out of it, and I went and I showed it to the, I wanted to be able to print it. It was like 4 pages.
Oh, okay.
They're all about 4 pages, but now they have a lot more information in them
than
they did before, because
I'll
get to that.
I didn't know if you meant you made like a 3-panel strip out of it, or you.
No, I made like
a 20-page.
Okay, it was on 8.5 by 11 paper, but I measured out an actual comic book page size. It just had a white border around it. It was lame production. And I wanted to do it through the Gamers Club that I was a part of, because I wanted to print them for free. So I became an officer in the club.
Understandable.
I was an officer in the club, so I could go to the English department and use their printers. So I printed out hundreds of issues and sold them for $1, and I donated a lot of the money to the club to kids with cancer.
Okay.
And stuff like that, so they could, get hats. And
did they make the paper hats out of the comic?
We made the hats.
Oh, okay.
We did a lot of charity work. I donated money, so that's them. And the comics had a lot of like inside jokes and were about stupid stuff going on at the school. So I had to like get rid of all that when I decided like I really want to make a comic book. Like, and
that was my next question. Yeah. It's 2005. That was 6 years ago. What made you decide now is the time to like release?
I've been working on it for a couple of years. I've been writing it for 3 years.
But what made
I've been rewriting it for 3 years?
So even 3 years is a lot of rewriting. What made you decide like this is cooked? It's done.
It was ready.
Okay. So
I wrote it.
The little white thing just.
I had 13. I had 13 episodes.
Like an arc planned, or okay.
I had 13 issues, and I rewrote them. It took 3 years.
All right.
And they're rewritten. And then I was like, I'm
a lot of that was probably because it was spare time.
Yeah,
right?
comedy was happening.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then I during those years too, I was learning Ashcan. Just the self-produced comics like zines. It's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, but sideways, and you fold it in half, and those are the pages, and they're stapled in the middle.
Oh, so is it like an origami, like?
No, it's just you just fold paper in half, bro.
Well, okay. So why did you have to learn that? Is what I'm saying.
Oh no, I just had to learn the measurements, like and I looked up. I got this book called Crash Course in Comics. Get it if you're interested in comic book making. If you don't make your own comic book after reading it, you don't know how to read. I bought this book, and it's awesome, and it taught me how to do this Ashcan style. So it's literally just feeding your printer the pages and turning them around and doing it again and copying each image.
Have you looked into getting this book into any local comic book stores? Because I know some of them that do. I don't know much about how the comic book industry works, but I know there are a lot that have like independent comics in their store.
I do have my eye on that, but I sell them at shows, and I've been.
So that's where that's what I'm getting at. Where can people find this book?
Oh, you can find them at shows, and in April I'll be at the Improv Boston's Geek Week at the end of April.
Okay.
And I'll have 2 issues for sale after the show, and I'll be.
Is that as far as you are?
I have 1 now, and I'll have April. The second one drops. It's bi-monthly.
And after the 13th, is that it, or is that where that storyline ends?
Something else is gonna happen to him. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I like that you have a vague future planned out for that.
Yeah.
Now, what if I mean, just for the sake of argument here, what if nobody is? Are you still gonna finish all 13 if nobody's taking them type thing? Are you that committed? Or?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish them.
Okay.
I printed 60
because
copies.
You never know down the road somebody might want to.
Right. I printed 60 copies of the first one, and I'm almost sold out. And I probably won't need to print anymore because by the time I get to making the second one, I'll do the same thing. And if it starts selling more than 60, which is I have a low production cost, so it's just buying ink and doing it yourself is cheap. And I buy it's printed on recycled paper. Because I buy the cheap paper at Staples, so it's like $6. It says it's completely recycled, so I trust that label. If I do not reflect the views of Staples.
Dan Martin is not affiliated with Staples.
Neither is Torgo's Pizza Podcast, Kevin John Funny Man, or Sean Flanagan, who's not here tonight.
Everything we say that's bad is Sean Flanagan's fault tonight. So
fuck Sean Flanagan! He didn't even come tonight!